Hey there, and I welcome you to day 38 of the 100 Days Python Programming Challenge. And today I will be talking about for loops. I will show you what for loops are, how you can use them with dictionaries, with lists, with strings, and there's even like a short project at the end of the tutorial so we can put for loops into practice. Sounds like something you're interested in? It's day 38, and the topic is for loops. Let's begin. Welcome to day 38 of the 100 Days Python Programming Challenge. It is day 38, and today I will be talking about for loops. You might have heard of for loops before, or if this is your first time, you're in luck. This is beginner's level. For loops allows you to iterate over a sequence of data. So imagine you have a list or a tuple or a string or range, and then you want to be able to iterate each item in your data. And that is when you would use for loops. So a for loop, you can iterate, like I said, list, tuple, string, dictionary, ranges, and etc. So for each item in the sequence, the loop executes a block of code. So you have a long list, you don't want to iterate the entire list, each item in that list, then a block of code is executed. So this is how the syntax for a for loop is. We have our for, you have to use for, and then you have to use in, and then sequences where you want the code to be executed, and then you have to add your colon. And underneath, you have to put the code that you want to be executed. Be careful of the indentation. When you use your for loop, it has to be properly indented. Otherwise, there might be issues. You'll get an error. That's the issue. So the first thing that we would do is to iterate over a list. So imagine, no, not imagine. Why do I keep saying imagine? So I'm creating a list of fruits. And then in my list, I have apples. So my list is made up of strings. And then I have mangoes. I believe that's the plural for mangoes. And then I have bananas. And I want to use my for loop to iterate over every item in my list. So I would write for fruit. Your variable can be anything that you decide it to be. Most people use for high, for whatever. So this doesn't matter. You can name it whatever you want, but it has to be understandable for whoever is reusing or is reading your code. So I'm using for fruits in fruits. And then my colon, do not forget your colon. And then I would print fruits. So I want this to print individual item in my list. So when I run this, see we have apples, mangoes, and bananas. So now they are separated. I've been able to iterate through over my list. So it iterates each item, it goes through for fruit in fruit, it goes through fruit, it finds one that is fruit, and then it prints it out. It goes again, finds, prints, goes again, finds, and prints. So that's how you iterate over a list. So what if you want to iterate using range, for example? The range function helps you to generate a sequence of number. So it is used to control the number of iterations in a loop. So imagine I want to be able to iterate through a range of 5. And then I want to print I. So what this means that it's going to start at 0 and then print, go to 1 and then print, go to 2, 3, and then 4. So when you use range, you mean n minus 1. So this is like our n minus 1, which is 4, and that's where it stops. So range generates number from 0 to 4, excluding 1. The loop iterates 5 times. That means it iterates 5 times 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it stops. So when I run this, we would have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it iterates 5 times and it stops before 5. So to expand on range, we can specify our start, our stop, and then our step. So we can specify where we want the range to start from, where we want it to end, and then the steps that we want it to take. So if we use step of 2, imagine you want to run a range from 1 to 5, and then you put step from 2. So you see it will run 0, and then to count to 1, 2, and to run 2, skipping 1, then it will run 4, skipping 3. So it is taking 2 steps per iteration. So now let's write the code for I in range. But here in this bracket, we're specifying our start point. We want it to start from 1, and then we want it to stop at 10, and then we want it to take a step of 2. So it starts at 1, stops at 10, takes the step of 2. My colon, do not forget your colon, and then we want to print I. Where is I? Yes. So it starts at 1, and then takes 2 steps, so it's a print 3, take another 2 steps, print 5, 7, and then 9. So when we run this, that's what we have. So we're able to specify what we want our start, what we want our stop, and what we want our step to be using our for loop. So another thing you can do is using a for loop when you have a string. We have used for loops for list. Now for strings, we have to specify what our string would be. So let me call a variable. So this is name, and then my string would be for me. My name is for me. So, and then for letter in name, I want it to print letter. And when I run this, we have for me. So it goes through every character in my string, and then it prints it out. Every letter in my string, and it prints it out. A cool project that you can do with for loops is building a multiplication table. So imagine we want to build a 3 times multiplication table. That it's multiplication table of 3. So 3 times 1, 3 times 2, 3 times 3, so on and so forth. So I have num equals to 3, and then I want it to print from, I have to set a range. I want the range to be from 1 to 10. So that would be for I in range. So I'm putting my start. I want it to start at 1, and then I want it to end at 10. So I put 11. And then my colon, and then I'll use my F string to format the output. So we'd have print and then F, and I want to print my number. It's in small letter, and I want to multiply it by the values of my I. That means each iteration, why do I keep pressing 1 instead of I? Each iteration that we get, it goes through the loop. I get the value of I, and then I multiply it by my number, and then my result would then be my number multiply by I. And then I close my F string. So I'm sure you get what we're doing here. So we're building multiplication table. It's going from 1 to 11, which stop at 10, and then it prints out the number, which is 3. So everyone will print 3, and then this is a multiplication symbol in my string, and then my I, it takes the value of each I, and then it prints the result. This is actually doing the multiplication. So 3 multiplied by whatever I have in my range. And when I run this, we have 3 times 1, 3 times 2. So it's going through each one, takes 3, num, that is 3. And this is my symbol for multiplication. Put it here. Then my start is 1, and then multiplies it. This does the multiplication, and then we get 3. And then it goes again to the next value, which is 2. And then it prints it out, and it keeps going until it gets to the final value, which is 10. And this is how we built our simple multiplication table. Another thing you can use is using a for loop with your dictionary. So I'm going to have a simple dictionary. This is my simple dictionary, and if I want to print out just the keys or just the values, depending on what you want. So then it goes through every item in my dictionary and then it prints the key. What are keys, you might ask? Keys are name, age, and location. And then what are values? Values are Alice, 25, and Germany. And when I run this, we have name, age, and location. And then if I want to print out the values, we've printed out keys. What if I want to print out values? Then I have my for loop that goes through person, dot value, and then print out the values. So I want to print out Alice 25 in Germany. And when I run this, we have Alice 25 in Germany. But what if I now want to print both the key and the value? We've printed it separately, still using our for loop. So now we use key and value in persons.items. We use just persons to print out keys. We use persons.values to print out values. To print out everything, we use persons.items. And when I run this, we have our dictionary. So today we've talked about for loops. We showed you the basic syntax of for loop, how to iterate over a list, how to use range. I think I should make a video about range. And the basic range, and then using start, stop, and step, and then for loops with string. We also built a cool multiplication table, and we also use for loops in our dictionary. You should check out tomorrow's video. It's about enumerate. That is something you do not want to miss. Try out the past practice question, and as always, the link to the Jupyter notebook is in the description. See you tomorrow. That's it for this video. Do not forget to like, to subscribe, to share, and to leave a comment. And the link to the notebook that we worked on is available in my GitHub. Link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you tomorrow.